a student there, as slightly nerdy Peter Parker. He could have been one of the kids leaving the science center after a late class. Spider-Man stiffened as he glanced over to the towering, white brick building that housed the university's science department. His nerves seemed to jangle as if an invisible hand were plucking at them. The sensation intensified into a dentist drill buzzing in his brain. His spider sense was screaming a warning of danger, danger, connected with the science building. Tensed for action, Spider-Man looked hard at the building entrance. A big, thick-bodied man was making his way in. The students seemed to part around him like a stream of water flowing around a rock. A new jangle of warning buzzed in the hero's head. Spidey leapt from rooftop to rooftop, making his way around the square of buildings fronting the park. Even as he moved, he could feel the sensation of danger coming closer. Spider-Man reached the science building and scampered down the wall. Urged on by the danger warning pounded through his head, he didn't care if anyone spotted him against the white bricks. He halted by a window midway down and stared inside. He saw a large room and 3 men. Spidey knew this place. It was the big, untidy laboratory where Professor Aron Esterhazy conducted his experiments. He remembered thinking that the professor looked like a stork in his white lab coat. Beaky nose, thick glasses with heavy black frames, his white hair rising in untidy tufts like feathers. Esterhazy was a true head-in-the-clouds type. The students jokingly called him Professor Hazy, but even though he was world-famous in biogenetics, the professor still taught beginning courses. Peter Parker had studied with him, had learned much from him, and liked the man. There was nothing at all to like about the squat, hard-faced man who faced Esterhazy. He barely glanced at the lab animals the professor was trying to show him. "My files show how the formula has improved each of these subjects," Esterhazy said. The troll-like man cut him off. "Wait, get rid of your pal here." "Certainly, Mr. Smith." Esterhazy's voice was nervous as he turned to the other scientist in the room. Spider-Man recognized him immediately. The short beard edging the man's round face was grayer, but Esterhazy's lab wouldn't be the same without Dr. David Borloff. He had studied with the famous professor, then gone to work for him many years ago. Some people in the science department said Borloff was more like Dr. Hazy's son than his assistant. Certainly the veteran researcher always followed Esterhazy's orders. He left immediately. "Does he know about your research?" Mr. Smith demanded. "Only certain of the early stages," Esterhazy answered. "He helped me review the available information on the military's attempts to create a super soldier. Of course, my goal is different. My formula will bring subjects to their full genetic potential, a step beyond the military's goals." "Speaking of the next step," the hard-faced stranger said, "we lined up some guys to try your formula out." Esterhazy looked shocked. "It's far too soon for human testing. It's not safe yet. I couldn't—" "You'll have to, Doc. We can make you." Smith reached into his coat. At the window, Spider-Man tensed. He'd noticed the bulge inside the man's jacket before, but there was no new tingle from his spider sense, so he stayed where he was. The thuggish man's hand only brought out a piece of paper from his inner pocket. "Here's a copy of your funding agreement. It says that we own the research." Esterhazy grabbed for the paper. "I never agreed—" "You sure did, Doc. Maybe you missed seeing it in your hurry to sign after your government grant ended. But it's right here in black and white. The Foundation would never— Hey, it may say Foundation in these papers, but the money comes from one guy, and he's got volunteers who need your formula to reach their full genetic whatchamacallit. You can't seriously expect me to follow your orders." "Not my orders." Smith's face formed the barest of smiles. "They come from my boss, the guy who owns your formula." "No!" Esterhazy snatched up a test tube from a rack on the lab table. To Spidey, he looked like a man trying to rescue a favorite child from danger. "Jerk!" A backhand blow from the heavyset Smith knocked Esterhazy to the floor. Now Spider-Man made his move, smashing through the window to save the professor. Glass flew everywhere, covering the still figure on the floor. Spidey saw blood. "Great," he thought. "I've sliced up poor Dr. Hazy." Then he saw that the blood came from the professor's hand, which still clutched the now broken test tube. "Yo, spider freak." The harsh line